Can you believe it's been almost 10 years since Logitech G brought us their G29 racing wheel, which is the predecessor to their G27, and seriously, I've had some awesome memories with it, especially as it's my first racing wheel to use with my PlayStation 4 to play Gran Turismo. But has the time come to finally say goodbye to the Logitech G29, as there's so many new offerings on the market at pretty competitive prices? So I'll take you through what the Logitech G29 has to offer, highlighting any positives and negatives, together with showing you alternatives you should be going for, as things have moved on considerably in the last 10 years. Details for all the items are in the description below, including purchasing links. But before I begin, if you're new to the channel, hope you can support me by subscribing and hitting the bell icon to get notified of my next release. The G29 racing wheel comes as a bundle with pedals and is compatible with the PS3, PS4, PS5 and a PC, but not an Xbox, as there's an Xbox and PC version, which is the Logitech G920. There's an optional shifter which can be bought separately, but there are some deals out there where you can buy the shifter with the wheel and pedals as a bundle. The price for the G29 varies anywhere between £170 to £350. There are some offers where you can add different peripherals like a headset or even the shifter and pick this up for a discounted amount. I've even spotted a deal recently on Amazon where they're selling the G29 with the Playseat Challenge X foldable racing seat for just under £450, which is a pretty good deal. When I bought mine back in 2017, they were selling the wheel at a discounted price for £150, which also included the shifter. And I found the price used to drop to that point around Black Friday and Christmas, but since the pandemic, I found the price hardly drops anywhere near this. Now, taking a closer look at the design, it has a hand-stitched leather cover around the wheel with a 280mm diameter. There's an LED rev indicator positioned just above the center of the wheel, together with a blue center stripe on the wheel, giving a quick visual indication of where the wheel is. On the wheel, you have 14 buttons, which consists of a D-pad, PlayStation Start and control buttons, which are set up just like on a PS4 controller. There's also a 24-point selection dial and a plus and minus buttons to further adjust and fine-tune your driving preferences. The wheel looks and feels good and isn't too heavy, and even after all these years, the leather hasn't worn away, but it is shiny from use, so to keep it in good condition, it's best to use some racing gloves. It has a plastic casing all the way round with plastic clamps to help with mounting on a table or on a sim cockpit. Plus it has holes at the bottom allowing you to secure the wheel on a sim cockpit. The paddle shifters at the back of the wheel are stainless steel and have a clicky sound which feels and looks really good, and the wheel shaft has solid steel ball bearings. The wheel features a 900-degree lock-to-lock rotation, which means you can turn the wheel 2.5 times. It has a dual motor force feedback, which is driven by gears and plastic cogs, providing 2.1 Nm of torque, which is not too bad for an entry-level wheel. The pedals are well designed, made from stainless steel, and consist of an accelerator, clutch and brake, which are mounted on a plastic baseboard, with it having carpet grippers on the back to help with grip and rubber pads to stop it slipping on a wooden surface. But to be honest, you'll need something to stop it from moving, especially on a wooden or tiled floor, as you will experience some movement when pressing down hard on the brake, but it does have holes on the back if you're planning on mounting it on a sim cockpit. The throttle, clutch and non-linear brake feels good, with each pedal having a potentiometer where they all work on the distance the pedal has travelled. But for the brake, this isn't realistic, as the real brake works off the amount of force applied, which is what a load cell does. Inside the brake, it has an extra piece of rubber and a spring, which is a lot stiffer, so the first 50% feels pretty easy, but once you get past this, it does get a lot stiffer and you do need to use a lot of force. Coming over to the shifter, which is compatible with both the G920 and the G923, it has a H-pattern gear shift and has a solid steel gear shaft. The knob and boot is covered with hand-stitched leather, and it has clamps allowing you to mount it on a table, plus holes at the bottom to mount it on a sim frame. You don't have to buy this, as you do have the paddle shifters on the wheel, but it really comes down to the experience you want when racing. Mounting the wheel is pretty simple, as it has desk clamps to mount on a table, and you can also remove these bits from the clamps to help to mount on a thicker table, so it can fit a table which is is up to 5 centimeters thick. And as the wheelbase, pedals and shifter have mounting holes underneath, you can easily mount it on a sim racing cockpit. It's fine to use on a desk, but really for the best experience, it's worth getting a sim cockpit as it allows you to bolt on all the accessories, avoiding any situations where it could potentially come off. And in addition, it also provides some stability to race, together with providing some more adjustability to get a better racing position. Gaming wise, there's a number of games which support force feedback on the G29, and I'll include a link in the description if you're wondering which ones are supported. It's compatible with a PS3, PS4 and PS5, together with being able to use it on a PC, but on a PC you'll have to remember to install the Logitech G Hub software. This allows you to adjust some of the settings. For example, you can change the turning circle to reduce it from 900 degrees to a lower value, or even combine pedals and assign keys. Now with the G29 you won't be able to play some exclusive titles which aren't available on the PlayStation, like Forza for example. But the advantage here is that you can purchase Forza for a PC, allowing you to play on there, so you can get the best of both worlds with this wheel. And worth noting, there are adapters available, like this one from Resolution, that can provide Xbox support, but the experience does vary between games, with it not being so great on some. The racing experience on both a console and PC are equally good, and although the gears are slightly loud, you can feel the force feedback from the track, bumps and curves, giving a good immersive racing experience. The paddle shifters have a great feel when racing. Depending upon the game you're playing, it can be used in conjunction with the clutch. Alternatively, as I've already mentioned, you can get the shifter as well, which does work well, but is nothing amazing as it has more of a cheap plastic feel to it. And using the shifter with the clutch, you don't get any biting point sensation as you would in a real car, so in that respect it lacks realism. Pedals generally have a good feel, being nice and responsive, which adds to the realism of the whole racing experience. There's also a number of third-party mods that can be done on the G29, like changing the wheel, upgrading the paddle shifters, to upgrading the brake pedal, and even adding a telemetry display. I've made a couple of videos on this and I'll leave links to them in the description below if you wanted to check them out. It's a pretty cool way to mod the wheelbase, but cost wise, if you get a couple of mods plus the G29 for that price, you might as well get a direct drive wheelbase, so not really worth it in the long run. In terms of alternatives, Logitech did release the G923, which is the successor to the G29, which gives slightly more torque and provides true force. The design and performance of the G923 isn't too dissimilar to the G29, with the addition of true force, which is supported on a small selection of games. The pedals are literally identical, with the only difference being the brake pedal, where it has a variable pitch spring instead of a linear spring to improve the braking experience. Price wise it's slightly more expensive, but I wouldn't personally recommend this as an upgrade, as the racing experience is very similar to the G29. Then there's the PXN V99, which is compatible with a PC, Xbox, PS4, but not a PS5. It's sold as a bundle with pedals and a H-pattern shifter at just under £190, and this wheelbase also provides force feedback with gears and plastic cogs, providing 3.2 Newton meters of torque, with it having a quick release system, but they don't have any new rims. The wheel rim is slightly larger than the G29 and performance is very similar, if not identical. The biggest difference is the pedals, where the Logitech pedals feel much more superior, with the brake pedal giving more resistance, but given a choice between this and the G29, I'd go for the G29 as you get PS5 support and a better build quality. Force feedback wise, it uses gears and plastic cogs just like the G29, so not really much of an upgrade. Then there's Thrustmaster's belt driven wheelbases, which actually provides quite a good alternative to Logitech's wheelbases, providing quite a good experience. Moving on to direct drive wheelbases, where the wheelbase contains a motor providing feedback directly to the user, and this feedback is provided by attaching a wheel to it, where the feedback consists of vibrations and a variation in levels of tension to give a realistic racing experience. And this feedback is either controllable via a PC or a mobile app. If you're upgrading from the G29, this would be the option to go for, with a far superior driving experience over the G29, with the difference literally feeling like night and day. When choosing a direct drive wheelbase, you'll first need to consider the platform you intend to game on, so PC, Xbox, PlayStation, or even if you wanted to game on all the platforms. And also the games you intend to play, as some titles aren't available on certain platforms. So for instance, Gran Turismo 7 is an exclusive on PlayStation, whereas Forza is only available on Xbox and PC. Then there's iRacing, which is PC only. Wheelbase wise, there's a couple of options available at the entry level stage. The cheapest offering comes from Mozza with their R3 bundle for a PC at £299, where you'd get a wheelbase and pedals, which has an accelerator and brake. Then there's the R3 bundle for Xbox and PC, costing slightly more at £359. The R3 wheelbase provides 3.9 Newton meters of torque, with Mozza providing quite a vast ecosystem with many upgrade options. Around the £500 range, you've got the Fanatec CSL DD, Mozza R5 and the Camus C5, all providing around 5 Newton meters of torque, but at this price point all wheelbases are just compatible with a PC, with Fanatec and Mozza capable of providing Xbox console support via separate wheels, where compatibility is provided via an encryption chip in the wheel, together with both these brands providing a larger ecosystem with a build quality definitely more superior to Camus. But worth noting, if you do want console support on both Camus and Mozza, you can buy an adapter, the Resolution 2, which will provide console support, but the experience is varied from game to game. It works, but not something I'd personally recommend due to the variation in racing experience between games. If you wanted PC and PlayStation compatibility, or even full support for all platforms, so PC, PlayStation and Xbox, then the Fanatec DD Pro, available in 5 and 8 Newton meters of torque offerings, and the Club Sport DD Plus offering 15 Newton meters of torque. Then there's the Logitech Pro racing wheel giving 11 Newton meters of torque, but these higher torque levels come at a price, with a wheelbase costing much more. This wide range of compatibility is possible because the encryption chip for PlayStation compatibility is in the wheelbase, and the encryption chip for Xbox compatibility is in the wheel, making it possible to get this full range of support. Both Mozza and Fanatec, and to some extent Camus, give you the ability to tweak a lot of the force feedback settings, whereas the Logitech Pro wheel doesn't have that level of granular adjustability. I'd say it's more of a plug and play offering, with the added advantage of True Force, which works with the dynamics of the car to give a more realistic racing experience. True Force is definitely a real game changer on games that support it, but compatibility is a little bit limited, with not all titles supporting it. So in summary, I'd say it's really time to say goodbye to the Logitech G29. 10 years on, as you're better off saving a little bit more and getting a direct drive wheel to get the best sim racing experience, as the selection of sim racing bundles available on the market has completely transformed in the last 10 years, with the prices being even more competitive. But if you were an occasional racer with a limited budget who just wanted to try out sim racing, the Logitech G29 is definitely still a good entry level budget wheel, with it working on both console and PC, providing reasonable torque levels, with it being a great option for kids and works straight out of the box with no additional need for tweaking, which is what I love about this wheel. It just works. So there you have it, you've come to the end of another video, and I hope it's helped anyone thinking of purchasing this. Details are in the description below, including purchasing links, and if you have any questions on this, let me know in the comments below. For those of you who've got to the end of this video, please leave a comment with "Buy G29", as it's awesome to see who's got to the end of my video, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You can follow me on my socials, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to be notified of my next release. Thanks for viewing, and see you in the next one.